It's amazing how a single touch can set your entire world on fire, especially when it's not supposed to mean anything. I was supposed to be just a pawn in his little game. A prop. A fake boyfriend. Nothing more. But when Adrian wrapped his arm around me in the middle of that crowded cafe, pressing me close against his chest as his ex looked on from across the room, something inside me cracked open. It wasn't supposed to hurt this much or feel this good. Adrian was the kind of guy who looked like he had life all figured out. Always confident, always untouchable, with a smirk that could slice through steel and a voice that sounded like it was designed to make you obey. I wasn't supposed to get pulled into his orbit, but when he asked me to help him out by pretending to be his boyfriend in front of his ex, I didn't even think before saying yes. Maybe it was curiosity, maybe it was desperation, or maybe, deep down, I'd always wanted him to touch me like that. Relax, Adrian whispered against my ear that night, his arm tightening around me as if I actually belonged there. Just play along. Play along. God, if only it were that easy. The truth is, I've never been good at pretending. My chest was burning, my pulse stumbling out of rhythm, and my head screamed at me to pull away before I made the mistake of thinking this could be real. But the warmth of his hand resting casually against my hip, it was enough to silence every rational thought. I caught his ex-staring eyes narrowing, lips tightening, and Adrian's grip only grew firmer, possessive even. For a split second, I thought he might kiss me right there, in front of everyone. The thought terrified me. The thought thrilled me. Afterward, when the act was over and his ex had stormed out, I expected him to let go, to laugh it off, to thank me for playing my part. But instead, he kept holding me. And Worsa started calling me his boyfriend. Not once. Not twice. Over and over. Like he wanted it to be true. Like maybe deep down it already was. The problem? Adrian was never supposed to mean anything to me. And yet here I was, lying awake in my apartment that night, still feeling the phantom weight of his arm around me, still replaying the way his voice dropped an octave when he whispered mine. I wanted to believe it. I wanted to fall into it. But I knew better than anyone how dangerous it was to mistake pretend love for the real thing. Because the real thing could break you, and I'd been broken before. The next day, Adrian showed up at my workplace like it was the most natural thing in the world. I was stocking shelves at the tiny bookstore downtown, trying to keep my head low, when suddenly I heard his voice, smooth, arrogant, unmistakable. There you are, babe. Babe. The elderly woman at the counter glanced up with interest. My coworker nearly dropped an entire stack of books. And I almost passed out right there. What the hell are you doing here? I hissed, dragging him between the shelves where customers wouldn't see us. He just smirked, hands in his pockets, leaning against the books like he owned the place. What? Can't a boyfriend visit? Boyfriend? I repeated, incredulous. That wasn't the deal. His gaze softened for a fraction of a second. Maybe I changed the deal. I hated how those words made my stomach flip. I hated how close he was standing, how good he smelled, how badly I wanted to reach up and tug him down into a kiss I knew I shouldn't want. You're insane, I muttered, pushing past him. But he caught my wrist, gentle, not forceful, yet enough to stop me in my tracks. Maybe, he said quietly. Or maybe I just realized I don't like pretending. My breath hitched. He couldn't mean that. He didn't mean that. It was Adrian who didn't do feelings. Except, maybe he did. And maybe I was about to be in a whole lot of trouble. The thing about playing pretend is that it gets messy fast. 1 minute you're acting for someone else's benefit, and the next you can't tell where the lies stop and the truth begins. By the end of the week, everyone in my circle thought Adrian and I were dating. He made sure of it, showing up to walk me home, buying me coffee in the mornings, slipping his arm around me in public like it was the most natural thing in the world. And I, against every shred of common sense I had left, let him. Because the truth felt good. Too good. Even when it hurt. Especially when it hurt. And that was the problem. One night, we sat together on the fire escape outside my apartment, city lights flickering below us. The air was cool, our knees almost touching, silence stretching long and heavy between us. I wanted to say something, anything to break it, but Adrian spoke first. You think I'm just using you, he said quietly, staring out at the skyline. I swallowed hard. Aren't you? He didn't answer right away. Instead, he reached out, his fingers brushing mine, tentative for the first time since this all began. What if I'm not? And just like that, my carefully built walls began to crack. Adrian's words echoed between us, louder than the horns of traffic below, louder than my own frantic heartbeat. What if I'm not? I wanted to laugh, to shove him away and call his bluff. But the way his hand lingered on mine told a different story. His thumb brushed over my knuckles like he was memorizing them, like he was afraid I'd disappear if he didn't hold on tight enough. You don't get to play with me like that, I whispered, my throat tight. Not after everything. His gaze snapped to mine, sharp and unyielding. I'm not playing, but I didn't trust him. Not yet. Not when his ex's shadow still lingered in every corner of his life. I'd seen the way Adrian's jaw clenched when they crossed paths, how his entire body stiffened like he was bracing for impact. No matter how close he sat beside me, part of him was still somewhere else, stuck in a place I could never reach. And I hated that. The breaking point came 2 nights later. We were at a friend's party, laughter and music spilling through the air, the smell of beer and pizza heavy around us. Adrian had been at my side all evening, his hand brushing against mine, his eyes daring anyone to question why I was there. Then his ex walked in. I felt Adrian go rigid before I even turned to see them. His grip on my hand tightened, almost painfully, as if I were his anchor in a storm he hadn't prepared for. I should have pulled away. I should have told him I wasn't going to be used like this again. Instead, I stayed. I let him pull me close, his arms sliding around my waist, his mouth dipping to my ear like he was about to kiss me. And God, for one reckless second, I wanted him to. But then his ex's eyes flicked toward us, filled with something sharp and unreadable. And I realized it wasn't me Adrian was thinking about. It was them. I shoved him off me before I could stop myself. The music didn't quite cover the sound of his startled breath. Don't, I snapped, my voice shaking. Not like this. Not when all you see is them. The room tilted, voices blending into static as my chest burned. I didn't wait for his response. I just left. That night I cried harder than I had in years. Not because of Adrian, not really, but because I'd let myself hope. I'd let myself believe that maybe, just maybe, someone like him could love someone like me. Stupid. The next morning I ignored his texts. The morning after that, I blocked his number. I told myself I was done. I told myself I was stronger than this. But then he showed up, standing outside the bookstore again, drenched from the rain, looking nothing like the arrogant man who'd first pulled me into this mess. His hair plastered to his forehead, his jacket clinging to his frame, his eyes desperate in a way that made my chest ache. Please, he said the moment I stepped outside. His voice cracked on the word. Just hear me out. I should have turned away. I should have told him to leave me alone. But my body betrayed me, frozen in place, waiting. He took a shaky breath. I screwed up. I know I did. I thought I could use you to get back at them, but somewhere along the way it stopped being about them. It stopped being pretend. His voice broke completely then, raw and unpolished. It's you. It's only you. The rain soaked into my clothes, cold against my skin, but I hardly felt it. All I could see was the way his hands trembled, the way his eyes pleaded with me not to walk away. I wanted to hate him. God, I wanted to. But the truth was I loved him. Somewhere between the fake touches and whispered lies, I had fallen hard, stupid, and irreversible. You don't get to say that unless you mean it, I whispered, tears mixing with the rain. Because if you hurt me again, I won't survive it. Adrian stepped forward, closing the distance between us. His hands cupped my face, firm yet gentle, grounding me in a way nothing else could. Then I'll spend the rest of my life proving I mean it. And before I could stop him, before I could second guess, his lips crashed against mine. This kiss wasn't for show. It wasn't for anyone else's eyes. It was messy and desperate and real. And for the first time, I didn't care who saw. Weeks later, We sat together on that same fire escape, the city buzzing beneath us. Adrian's arm was draped around my shoulders, his head resting against mine. For once, there were no ghosts between us. No pretending. You know, he murmured, his voice low and warm, I still like calling you my boyfriend. I laughed, rolling my eyes. You're ridiculous. Maybe, he admitted, pressing a kiss to the side of my head. But you're mine, and I'm not letting you go. For the first time in a long time, I believed him, because this time it wasn't about jealousy or revenge. This time it was about love. Real, terrifying, beautiful love. And as the city lights flickered around us, I knew I'd finally found home. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.